like he's trying to run a one-man band out there. Behind his seat. And leave a comment below. This is a make or break season for he's got to make an impact. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Happy Monday, January 22nd. I hope all of you had a great weekend. I know I did. The games were crazy. Obviously, the playoff games, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens. I mean, teams played good. Some teams played bad, but overall, it was a great experience. I know my co-host on the show, we're going to welcome in, was so upset about Buffalo, and I kind of was too, because I want to see Josh Allen advance and get to the Super Bowl, but let's talk about this right now. Welcome our co-host to the show, my below-average white guy, the face for radio, knows all the facts. Let's bring him on right now, even though he's upset. Let's go. Brent Chapman. Let's go, guys. Good morning. And Brent, good morning to you.
I'll tell you something, Brandon. Josh Allen nor Patrick Mahomes care how Brent Chapman feels this morning. So
I was feeling for you, though. I got to tell you, Brent.
My life will go on, and so will theirs. I told my son last night, he's 12. I said, I was 11 for wide right 1. And we're about the same age for wide right 2. So this is being a Bills fan. This is what being a Bills fan is. You are a forever loser. You can never make it to the top.
I hate... I hope you had a great weekend, first and foremost. And I knew this is going to be a salty Monday for Brent because he likes to give his Buffalo Monday. And that's not what you're coming to today, and I understand that. But, Brent, let's just say this. These two players, one thing I will say before we dive into it further, I was so excited to watch this game. I have never actually been so excited to see two quarterbacks go head-to-head in a football game, especially in a playoff game. These are two warriors. These are two of the best players in football right now. Win, lose, or draw, Josh Allen is walking out of this game. Patrick Mahomes is walking out of this game. And these are two players that, regardless of what the outcome was, should put their helmet up on the rack and go, wow, that is an iconic picture for years to come with both of those players. Excellent teams. Unfortunately, one team had to lose. And I will tell you this, by watching the game, Brent, when I saw the outcome of this, and this is a quick little run, but this was really the deciding factor, if you ask me. Obviously, Mahomes played great, but watching Pacheco get back to the running game, this is a quick little run in the end zone. This is what you've seen all game was Pacheco running the ball, breaking loose. And I'm not saying that, the Bills didn't have their takes too and their runs too. But the deciding factor really came down to the running game. And I like Josh Allen. Brent, I want you to give your take on this because obviously you're a Buffalo fan. I think people watching this, including myself, you could feel the heartbreak loss for Bills fans. They were throwing snowballs. They thought they had it. People were on the edge of their seats. How did Mahomes pull this out versus Josh Allen?
There's something about the Bills-Chiefs matchup that gets Mahomes going in a way that he doesn't in other games. It's just when you get in the playoffs with him, he's unstoppable. He was not good this year. Do we not remember us saying that the Chiefs were not as good this year?
No
and
identity.
Buffalo beat them in Kansas City. He was not good, and then it was all of a sudden like, all right, I'm going to put on my Superman cape and go do this thing. And
yeah,
and I think that until the fourth quarter, I think he scored on every drive they had the ball. I mean, and Josh Allen basically did the same thing. It was another incredible shootout between the two of them. As a Bills fan, it sucks because it's clear the Chiefs have our number.
Yep.
But that was an incredible game. Both quarterbacks were incredible. I just think that when Patrick Mahomes wants to win, he's going to win. And for whatever reason,
Brent,
he really wants to beat the Bills.
It's so funny you said that because, listen, I'm being serious when I say this. When I watched Mahomes through the season, it was like, oh, they have no identity. They're missing a receiver. Here's a concern, Travis Kelce, does he want to continue playing? Is this his last hurrah with Mahomes and all this, which we'll get to later in this segment? But you're right. When Patrick Mahomes is up against the wall and he has to turn it on, he turns it on. And he turns it on and fast forward. But the thing is, Josh Allen turned it on too. Watching him run the ball again confirmed for me, this man could play tight end if you want. He could play fullback if you want. He could play H-back if you want. Quarterback, obviously, at an elite level. And so I agree with you. They turned it on. But through the whole game, there was no punting. There was no turnovers till the end of the game, till when they had to go for it, obviously. There was no punt going on. It was an offensive shootout. They played great. Both teams played great. And this picture, Howard, behind here, can you pull up the running back for me? It should be toggled right behind this image. And this man, I can't speak enough about how great Pacheco played, went to Rutgers, got to Kansas City, and he was the guy to open it up because they didn't have that star extra receiver. And Pacheco, the kid, he runs fast, he runs hard, he plays. Every single play he touches the ball is electrifying. Every time Mahomes gets outside the pocket and he has this guy to dump the ball to or hand it to, it's very difficult. But to everything you just said, Brent, and if you could toggle me back, Howard, to those two dynamic quarterbacks, there's nothing that can be said. I don't care who watches this. I don't care who watches football. I don't care what fan you are. These two quarterbacks played their hearts out, and there was no final decision until the whistle was blown, Brent, and it was over. Nobody could tell you what was going to happen.
There was something different in that game that I think shows in the stats, right? So the Chiefs had 6 plays over 20 yards. The Bills' longest play from scrimmage was 18 yards. Stephon Diggs is done. He has looked like a shell of his former self the last 8 games. You don't drop. Dude, the guy drops like 3 passes a game, and dude, he dropped like you wanna put it on your shoulders. You want to be the leader. You want to be the one standing there watching the celebration after the game and talking about how we got to win, and then you catch the freaking ball when it hits your hands 40 yards down the field on the last drive of the game.
Yeah.
You don't let it. You don't like, dude. He's done. He's done.
The amount of money he's making and what they're doing, and this was Josh Allen's year. And I hate to say it like this, Brent, because they're different teams, different organizations. So I don't people saying, "Oh, you said this," but it really feels a lot like the Cowboys. And I'm not talking about coaching. I'm just saying you have a quarterback who can play. You have receivers that can play. You have a running back that can play, and you're like, this is our year to get further. And listen, don't get me wrong. To get to where the Bills are now, they went far. The Bills went far. They played the Chiefs. They didn't play a bum team. The Chiefs
it's not the
are
Cowboys
good.
To me. It's 2 teams really is the most, and they were making one comparison. It's the Brady Manning comparison. Manning could barely get by Brady, and once they played so many times that they eventually were able to beat them, right? But the one that I always play to is the whole Marino Kelly thing. Marino is one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, and he just kept running into Jim Kelly and the Bills. They had their number. He could never get past them ever in the division, in the playoffs. And here we are with this. But that game last night, Josh Allen did everything he could. He was running. He was doing shove passes. He was flipping the ball. He was dropping the ball in people's hands 30, 40 yards down the field. Look, man, they didn't do him good. They got a kicker who sucks. They got receivers that would be 4-string guys on pretty much every other team in the league. They got a number 1 who should retire. They need to put weapons around him to help him be successful. And the defense suffered. Now, Brandon, most people don't look at this, but Buffalo had 7 starters missing on defense from when they started the season for that game.
Yep.
That's the Bills should be given the credit. The fact that that everyone was so high on them, considering the depletion they had of players. They were just decimated.
They're a great team. Damar Hamlin ran a fake punt. Damar Hamlin was in on a fake punt. for the Bills. I mean, really, that's it. Hey, listen, you can call in right now to the show live. Obviously, we're updating our system. Howard, you put the link in there. I know people do want to call in today and chat, but I will tell you, it was tough to see because listen, Josh Allen, people became even more of a fan this year of Josh Allen. Chiefs had no identity, and they pulled it out. Like you said, when time's up, when it's time to play, it's time to play. And that's what happened. So there's a link in the chat right now. We just put it. You can call right now. I will pin it in a second. If you want to call in and talk live, you can click on it. You will not see a video, which is great. It'll just be you talking in the background, and you can chat about the game. But Brent, what I want to say too is I honestly felt like it was like a Super Bowl, right? I don't even know if the Super Bowl is going to be that good.
Wow.
And they got to move on.
I think that was the best game of the season. We
have the 49ers. We got the Ravens to talk about as well. But, what's bothersome for Bills fans is look at the dynamic with them cleaning the stadium out, showing up, the morale behind Buffalo. Jim Kelly has a great story, which I'm looking forward to having him on the show. Josh Allen, step up, one of the best quarterbacks in football, and you go against the Chiefs and you go, hey, the Chiefs are not that good this season. They had this roller coaster ride, but so did the Bills, right? And then you look at other teams and you're like, so did they. And then we're going to get to the 49ers in a second, who had the same similar season. And the only team really right now that's been pretty well productive and really hasn't lost, and they only have a loss against the Steelers because Lamar wasn't even playing, is the Ravens. So Chiefs-Ravens will be a big matchup. We'll get to that in a second. And I think also we have Packers on here, which is great. We'll have to talk about. But let's move on here. As people do start to call in, we can talk about whatever we're talking about at that time. But Brent, I am upset about it. And if Mahomes lost, I'd be like, man, that guy's a warrior. I need to see him in the Super Bowl, right? And then if Josh Allen lost. So both of those guys deserved it. But it's heartbreaking. But let's pull up the 49ers and Brock Purdy, because let me tell you something. They came correct. They pulled it out. And I kind of like what the 49ers did. The Packers were a lot better than I thought. And we'll get to Jordan Love in a minute. The Packers played very well. But, hey, Brock Purdy is as good as advertised as the game manager. And I think they rallied. Deebo Samuel was out. Christian McCaffrey played great. When it's there, he took it. When it wasn't there, hey, get 1 yard, live to fight another day. But when he breaks through that line, Christian McCaffrey is one of the best running backs in football. And the 49ers play well and pulled it out. How did you feel about Brock Purdy's gameplay and just game against the Packers?
Yeah, he did what you're supposed to do when you're the number one seed, right? And that's deliver a victory for your team. And, he was in the conversation for MVP all year, and I think he performed at that level. To your point, and we'll talk about it later, I was very impressed by the Packers and Jordan Love. You may recall, Brandon, that I did in fact say that I thought the 49ers were most susceptible to an upset. And I think that going into the fourth quarter, a lot of people thought Green Bay was going to win that game. I certainly was on that bandwagon. But
I think we have a caller coming in right now, I believe.
Oh, great. Who do we got? I'm so excited.
Good, man. See where he's from. Make sure we're here.
There we go. Lawrence.
Are we in?
He's got to connect to his audio first. But anyways, while he's doing that, I'll finish my comment on Brock Purdy, which is that he's proving to be a guy that can lead a team to a championship. So he's not going to be Patrick Mahomes. He's not going to be Josh Allen. He's not going to be Lamar Jackson. But he's going to be the guy that can deliver with a bunch of talent around him and manage that game. So we have Lawrence on the phone. Lawrence, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Lawrence, where you from?
I'm actually down here in Houston. I moved out here 2 years ago.
H-Town.
Great to have you on the line.
So I've been supporting the Texans, and let's just say I'm proud of what they've done this year.
So listen, while we got you, and we're talking about the Chiefs last night, and I appreciate you calling in. Really excited to hear what you got to say about the Chiefs. And we're going to pull this picture up real quick because you're on there. How do you feel about the gameplay yesterday? Chiefs versus Josh Allen?
As a a mutual, I'm not really the biggest Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes fan. I gotta say, it was probably the best game of the entire playoff so far, hands down. Maybe you could say that Matt Stafford Jared Goff game was pretty intense, especially with all the emotions going on.
That's right.
But just in terms of just the history of it, I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan, but I'm not oblivious to anything. I mean, their match, I think they were 3-3 in their matchups, and they both scored like 159 points.
Yeah.
So it was like they were dead even. It was.
Yeah.
You're a Houston fan, right? So how do you feel
I was gonna ask
the Ravens, right? And we're moving on right to that because that's where we're at right now. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson. Since you're a Houston fan, tell us what you think about what Lamar Jackson did to your team, man.
I feel like we were riding on a high from beating the Browns. So we had the rookie. He didn't really make any rookie mistakes. It was more just the Ravens just swarmed the receivers. I mean, you got Jadeveon Clowney and the rest of the boys on the defensive line, and he's probably not even the best the best D line on the team. So it's you heard Roquan Smith after the game. I believe he had on like a cowboy hat or something. He was like, yeah, you can call me daddy or something, to the Texans. So he kind of was mocking the fans, but it's just that attitude that a player has and that swagger that you see a team has. And it's not just Lamar Jackson. As big as I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. So that's why I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan.
Ah, there we go.
I was born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky, but I've
So you're a Lamar Jackson fan, but you're a Houston fan. So you show up, you're rooting for Lamar Jackson, but you're like, I want to win this game.
Yeah, it was a win-win. It was a win-win.
Lawrence, tell me about what you think about CJ Stroud's season and where you got him next year. Like, what do you got for the team coming back in his second year? Do you think you're going to have a sophomore slump, or do you think it's advanced in the playoffs farther? What's the expectation for you and the fans down in H-Town?
I think with the Houston organization, kind of like how they did with Deshaun Watson, they've proven that they can continue to build and, build off of momentum and stuff like that year after year. Unfortunately, it didn't work out with Deshaun, but, you can't deny what he did there. Trust me. And the funny thing about Deshaun being a Lamar Jackson fan, Deshaun beat Lamar this year. And he also beat Lamar in college when Lamar was like the number 2 seed. So Deshaun always has Lamar's number for some reason. It's kind of odd. It's like and it's always at the end of the game. It's a close game with Deshaun and Lamar.
Listen,
I'm hoping the same thing happens with Patrick Mahomes. It's kind of like that close game. It's just a battle of two giants. I don't want it to be I'm not saying it's going to be a rout. I mean, just look at the Chiefs. I had the Bills winning, by far.
Yeah,
I'm not even going to lie.
All of Buffalo.
It's
So, Lawrence, before we let you go, give us your pick. Who's going to win, Ravens or Chiefs?
Definitely Ravens. Definitely
all right,
Ravens.
I like it.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Lawrence, I'm so glad you called in. We got a lot coming up. Definitely going to have you back on here. We got other people calling in the show. But listen, I love that you called in. I appreciate all your stuff coming in. I see some of your comments. Really love the support you're bringing to the show as we expand to networks. Thank you for calling in. We'll talk to you soon. I have a question for you when you call back in later in the week. All right. Hey, shout out to you, Brandon. I appreciate all you guys do. And I know I've been giving you some, a little heck, or, I don't want to cuss Brent, but I do appreciate what you guys do, man. Salute to you guys. We love it. We love it. Thanks for calling in, bud. All right. Hey, Brent, here's the other thing too. And I pulled this clip up. Lamar Jackson is making these plays, right? And this is the ability to go back and I'm running right now, right? This is like, I'm going back. The pocket's open. I'm running right now. I got to tell you something. As a running back, when I'm running through these holes, when I played and the holes just open up, they look nothing like this. But watch, I'm here, I'm going. You could see it from a mile away as an athlete. And then I look at this, I go, okay, he can do that. And then watch this. I'm running. Oh, wait, I'm throwing. You know how hard that is to stop? If you don't have the strong safety support, the linebacker support coming up and making plays, it is so difficult to stop this play in the red zone. You got to get up there. Up, my guy's open. It is so incredibly hard. Lamar Jackson is incredibly gifted, and that's why when I look at the matchup with the Chiefs, this is something that's very interesting. The Bills getting beat by the Chiefs, and people going, whoa, the Chiefs do have a little more identity this season, even though they're still missing some receiver talent. If you ask me, they got past the Bills. Can they handle the Ravens? Can they handle Lamar Jackson? Can they keep him in the pocket? And all the time he creates, scrambling, opens up the receivers. I just got to tell you, I think watching that game, obviously, Ravens win again. Now that the Bills drop, the votes have been in for MVP. That's been gone since the end of the season. People are talking about that. We have a couple clips about that. But because Josh Allen lost, it will help a little bit for the people that are like, come on, Lamar Jackson's MVP. Even though the votes are gone, they've been gone, it resonates a little better because you're seeing Lamar Jackson continuously put this show on.
It just validates it for the fan base. That makes sense.
I mean, it had to be hard for you to watch the game, but now watching the Ravens. Now that the Bills are out, Brent, I love you. By the way, we have a couple things. What mug is that? That's the first thing.
Oh, it's just a IT vendor, Okta.
All right, so you're waiting on your mug, and I got another mug. This is from my mom. This was just brought in. My mom flew to Miami, and it says, wherever you go, I go.
Oh, I like it.
Where you go, you go, I go, okay? And it has a bike, and it's got 2 seats. What an awesome freaking gift.
What a sweet mom.
Thanks to my mom. And I love these mugs. People are starting to send me mugs in the mail. So anybody that wants us to put it on here, appreciate you. But this one says, where you go, I go. It's got the bike seats.
I have a pretty wild coffee mug collection, but the problem is my wife put them all in boxes because I have like 50 coffee mugs and they just get all over the place.
Oh my
God.
God. And you know what? You can't throw them away. I have mugs since I was a kid. My picture on it.
I got a Josh Allen coffee mug I could bust out. I'll save that one for the fall. I told my wife yesterday, I said, I don't want to talk about the Bills for 9 months.
I knew you didn't want to, but hey, we're moving on to this, Brent. The Lions, this coach, Jared Goff, I mean, really, he's playing great. Goff is playing phenomenal. They beat the Rams. They came yesterday, won again. I love what they're doing. And this coach really is next level. And look, the guy looks like he plays linebacker for the Lions right now. Or D-line. The guy's massive. He's a leader. He's willing the Lions and the franchise. They couldn't win a playoff game in 30 years, and now they're heading to one of the biggest games, obviously, of their career here that are playing. But the Lions are pretty damn good. Whoa, what happened here? We had a wardrobe change.
If you're from the 313, all right, baby. Detroit, what?
Okay, so the Bills, I'm not going to lie. You've mentioned Detroit. You're from Detroit. You talk about this now before. You're not leaving them in the dark. But you are a Bills fan. But now the Bills are out. It's time to move on to the Lions, baby.
It's Lions time. All right. Let's go, Dan Campbell.
You got one of the best coaches in football right now. The guy is like, let's get it done. Respect me or I'm coming on the field, right? Like, that's what I see. I love what Jared Goff brings to the table, and I love what Dan Campbell brings to the table, Brent.
Yeah, it's great. I'm very excited about it. It's lifted my spirits. The thing about Detroit that I think is awesome is, when you really look at it, is Jared Goff really a Super Bowl quarterback? Look at who we have.
Brad, he's played really good.
Look at who we have playing quarterback in the championship games. We have Lamar Jackson and Mahomes and/or Allen, right? Those are like the best 2-3 quarterbacks in the league.
Yep.
And then on this side, we have Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, and Jared Goff, right? Who is a discarded number 1 overall pick.
But Brett, you just said something before you go on to this. The 3 top quarterbacks are all game changers, right?
Correct.
It's the game changers versus the game managers.
Yes,
you know,
correct.
Lamar Jackson, game changer.
Correct.
Patrick Mahomes, game changer. Josh Allen, game changer.
Correct.
And you go, maybe they're doing too much. They have to overcompensate. And we talk about this. If you take Josh Allen away from the Bills, wow. If you take Lamar Jackson, wow. If you take Patrick Mahomes, wow. If you go now to the Lions and you say, yeah, Jared Goff's playing really well, but let's put in somebody else. Or you take Brock Purdy out and put another quarterback in there, any quarterback you want. And you got Christian McCaffrey and guys like Deebo Samuel. And I mean,
Yeah, that's right.
Nick Bosa. I mean, they have great players. But listen, Brock Purdy pulled it out and Deebo Samuel was out for a lot of the game. So Goff is playing great, and I'm not knocking him. I think he's playing phenomenal. And he was what?
He's playing good. The feels right. You know how sometimes that goes, Brandon. It feels right. There's momentum in the city. It's a great story. The team is playing very well. Everyone's bought into Dan Campbell's mindset.
The whole city.
It feels right. It definitely feels like this could be the year we see Detroit in the Super Bowl.
Well, I like
go
it. I don't
Lions.
know about the Super Bowl, but I feel it. I know what you're talking about.
They're
I feel
gonna
it. And I
beat-
think they're going to
I
have a lot
think
of
they'll
that
beat San
Buffalo.
Francisco.
But that Buffalo spirit that they've had,
Yeah.
I can feel that. I can feel the Lions building that energy and that feeling of, hey, we're Detroit. We haven't been here in a long time. Fans are crying in the stands, just like Buffalo. We got to win this game. Even though Goff hasn't been there a long time, the Lions need something to talk about outside of Barry Sanders. I mean, seriously. That's the only thing I can think of in my head is Barry Sanders. But we're going to move on to Jordan Love right now. My hat is off to the Green Bay Packers and off to Jordan Love because, yeah, they didn't win the game. They didn't come out victorious. They're not moving on to the NFC Championship game. They're not going to the Super Bowl. I understand that. But this guy played great until the end. I think he made a rookie mistake, but he's trying to put on his back as well. But listen, Aaron Jones played phenomenal. Again,
Yeah, he's good.
running back, receiver,
Yep.
Dobbs out there, Romeo. Listen, I really like what I saw from Jordan Love this year. And it was like, I'm telling you right now, they found their guy. A lot of people are like, I don't know, if they lost the next 4 games in a row next season, starting off, they're not moving away from Jordan Love. They like Jordan Love. I love to feel the energy of liking your quarterback. He's your guy. He's your pick, like Josh
You're
Allen.
going to stand
You can
behind
lose-
him.
You can lose guys and keep playing, but teams now, they're jumping ship left and right. Coaches and quarterbacks, Jordan Love is the Packers guy.
Yeah, I believe that's true, and I also agree with the loyalty. They'll stick with him, right? They'll give him a couple years to really develop. We've talked about this before, right? When you follow not just one Hall of Fame quarterback, but 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and take your team to the playoffs in your first year as a starter, and then also beat the number 2 seed at home as a
Yep.
7 seed. I mean, I think this guy's done. He's won the fans over there for sure. And
I love what he did
he'll
this season.
continue to develop. He'll continue to grow. It's a grind. And hopefully we see the continued success from Jordan Love and the Packers.
The Bills fans got behind Josh Allen. The Lions fans truly right now are behind, more than anything, at least Dan Campbell, and also now behind Goff. They're behind the Lions, right? I don't know if it's Goff. I don't think it's that. I think they're behind the Lions. But the Packers now are behind Jordan Love. When this season started, it was in shambles. Aaron Rodgers is gone. Jordan Love, he's playing okay. Then he played good. Then, he's not that good. We don't know. They're behind Jordan Love. And I'm happy to see that because I'm excited for what the Packers could do next season. I think hats off for Jordan Love for what he played. So we're going to move on to a conversation that has been back and forth. Obviously, Jason Kelce is retiring, but Travis Kelce has said now multiple times, has shot it down. I'm not retiring. I'm ready to ball. And I got to tell you, watching them both play has been great. And now, Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey, the identity this season, not playing so hot, but now being like, wow, playing the Bills, I think this is great, and winning the game. So let's talk about Travis Kelsey right now. And before we get to that, Howard, pull the picture up behind there so we can see what's going on with, look at this picture, Brent. This is
Did you see him before?
That's the guy.
Did you see him before the game?
This
was
is
in
who you want as your brother in your corner, a warrior. This was supposedly the guy they said, this is supposed to be the sexiest man on the planet. Jason Kelsey. And this is your brother who you want in your corner, at your games, in your box, standing up in front of all the Bills fans, even though he's an Eagles player who is basically on the verge of retiring, maybe not. Conversation's been back and forth. But switch back for me real quick, Howard, because these two players will be hard to watch go, but it was great to watch them here. And if Travis Kelsey walks away from the game, Brent, and if they win a Super Bowl and he walks away from the game, I got to tell you, hey, hell of a career, man. In your new relationship now, you're moving on. Good for you. Probably a billionaire with her at this point, obviously. So if that works out, good for him. If they lost early on in the playoffs, I still think in his mind, I think he's thinking next chapter. And I hate to say that because I think he's got a lot of life left in football, but they're missing that other receiver.
Did you see the videos on Twitter of Jason Kelsey walking through the Bills tailgate?
Oh, yeah.
He was doing beer bongs and shots with Bills Mafia. It was actually pretty sweet.
Dude, good for him. Hey, you know what? Good for Bills fans. Good for football. Good for people. You know, I'm glad you said this. And you also talked about it last week when you said how Packers fans are, how Bills fans are, you know, that Chiefs fans are. There's some great fan base out there. And I like to get a little wild here and there. I like that the Eagles fans could get crazy. I like that they root for their team. But I also like good sportsmanship. I like to see fans out there being like, it's football. We're here to watch football, showing love to Jason Kelsey. And it wasn't like they were showing it for the Chiefs fans. These were Bills fans that were showing love to Jason Kelsey. And I got to tell you, it's probably hard not to show love to him because you might mess up by not showing him love because the man is a beast of a guy, right? But if Travis Kelsey retires this season, does he go down as the best tight end to ever play? Or does he go down to second, third? How are you feeling about that?
Oh, come on. The best tight end to ever play. Kellen Winslow. Not junior, senior. Antonio Gates.
Tony Gonzalez.
Rob Gronkowski.
That's
Tony Gonzalez.
First to me is not Antonio Gates and it's not Tony Gonzalez. I think Rob Gronkowski, right? Single-handedly, if you ask me.
Kellen Winslow Sr.
against Rob Gronkowski. Gronkowski
is one of the greatest tight ends of all time. You guys need to go. Brandon, you're probably way before your time.
You said one of.
Yeah, he's definitely in the top 5. But Kellen Winslow Sr., Kellen Winslow Jr. was a bit of a knucklehead. Kellen Winslow Jr. was the guy that was like wearing all the Army gear. He was like he was a first-round pick, but he just wasn't. Kellen Winslow Sr. was awesome. He played for Fouts in that Air Coryell offense where they basically that was the first tight end ever that paved the way for guys like Gates and Gonzalez and these guys.
When you say those guys, you say one of the best. And I say one of the best. But when I say Gronkowski, I don't say, he's one of the best. When I was watching him play,
hard.
Block,
it's like LeBron James and MJ. It's the same
this
conversation.
Guy was listen, Tom Brady also, let's count the Super Bowls.
That's also Tom Brady. But yes, Gronkowski is definitely one of the best and probably considered the best tight end, which is fair. He definitely has the accolades and the numbers and all that to justify that. You know how I feel about comparing people from different eras.
I understand
it's really hard to do. But Kellen Winslow, Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez, And of course, if you're from Chicago, the greatest tight end of all time is Mike Ditka.
Yeah. But Brett, listen, if in fact, okay, listen to this. If Travis Kelce wins a Super Bowl this year, okay, with Mahomes, and he has a great play in the Super Bowl, even through the playoffs right now too, the guy is electrifying. I believe, this is how I feel. I got Gronkowski right now, number 1, and I got Kelce in a close number 2. So if in fact Kelce wins a Super Bowl this year, I think people are going to go, whoa, Gronkowski and Kelce neck and neck. Gronkowski fought through so many injuries, so many surgeries, and he was still out there, and they won a Super Bowl with the Patriots countless times. Then he gets to Tampa Bay, wins another Super Bowl.
Crazy.
Tom Brady obviously was the main contributing factor, but Gronkowski very close to runner-up as the greatest players on the team. So I will say this. Here's my take. I got Gronkowski, then I got Kelce. And if Kelce wins a Super Bowl this year, I got them pretty damn close. That's just my take.
I think you forget how good Antonio Gates actually was. I
have him on the show and debate about it.
Yeah, well, he'll agree with me. He's definitely better than Travis Kelce.
Well, look, let's move on to Mac Jones. Let's move on to Mac Jones because I want to talk about something real quick. So Jerod Mayo, the new coach of the Patriots, shows up, right? And this is great. The Patriots move on from Belichick. He's ready to, maybe take a seat, step down, move, coach somewhere else. I don't like to see that, but it's great that they can move on respectively within their franchise. But ever since Jerod Mayo has taken over the franchise, I got 2 problems right now with what he's done. He publicly gets on and starts talking about race. Okay? The best way to get rid of racism is not talk about it anymore. Whether you're white, black, Spanish, wherever you're from, culture, stop talking about it. You want race to go away? Stop talking about it. Do good in life and stop talking about it. Jerod Mayo gets up there and starts talking about that problem. Then people start talking about, during this press conference, how Mac Jones showed up, what he's wearing, yada, 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 yada. And then obviously you have Zappe here. Here's my concern. Ever since he showed up, it hasn't been positive light. When you look at coaches that are moving, you look at Belichick's going to show up where he goes. It's going to be, let's rebuild. When you got the guy from Washington leaves and goes to Alabama, it's let's build, let's go, let's do it. If Jim Harbaugh leaves Michigan and goes and coaches in the NFL for, the Chargers, or if he goes to another team, goes to the Cap, wherever he goes, they're going to be like, let's build. I don't get that from Jerod Mayo. I don't get that from any of what's going on over there. That, if you ask me, that place is in shambles. And those 2 quarterbacks are your quarterbacks right now. And I think they should work on building those players up, kind of like the Steelers. It's going to be Pickett. We're going to bring in competition. We're going to do better. They're not doing that. They're downplaying people. They're talking about race. They're talking about woke conversations. Why do we got to get into woke and all this? It's football. If things come in the way, and I'm not going to go political right now, but if things pop up and that's your belief, keep your belief over there. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to get on that road. I'm just saying, let's not bring woke. Let's not bring racism. Let's not bring any of that into the National Football League. Let's play football. Jerod Mayo should be building the Patriots and focus on who his talent is, or they're going to be terrible again next season.
I would agree. And I think if there's one person that shouldn't talk about race, it's probably the below average white guy. Those
well, you're my below average white guy.
There's like in our country, there's like categories of people that are allowed to talk about certain things. Below average white guys are in the category that aren't allowed to talk about anything. All right.
You say one wrong slip up, they're coming for your neck, right?
And be very quiet. But I have this interesting story for you, Brandon. I don't know if you saw this. So Mac Jones was a surprise participant at Jerod Mayo's intro press conference. And it wasn't taken very well that he showed up for it. He was in workout gear, which is ironic since he cleared the entire locker at the end of the season, a team source told Greg Bedard of the Boston Journal. I mean, right. Come on, man. Rumors out of Foxborough are that the team is, quote unquote, sick of the former Alabama star and seems ready to move on after recent years of offensive futility and his antics on and off the field. Wow. Everyone's
so
sick
weird.
of his prima donna act.
When does this
I
come
was
to light?
unaware of Mac Jones prima donna, but I will say something about Mac Jones, Brandon, then I'll let you weigh in. I think Mac Jones as a quarterback is a pretty below average white guy. I think he falls right in below average white guy character. Mac Jones and I could have a lot in common. Now, Mac, I'll give you some advice. Not good to be a prima donna when you're below average at anything.
You know what, Brent? I hate to say that because people love the Mac Jones. Then they hated Mac Jones, and they love Mac Jones.
Well, I'm shocked. Aren't you shocked by these comments? Did you know this about his personality?
No,
I
of course
thought he
not.
was-
That's what I'm saying. Listen, Belichick would have been on your ass. If you did this with a great quarterback out there, hey, you're talking smack about Brady. Oh, he's this in the locker room. Or even if he's great, like Baker Mayfield. Oh, he's great. He sucks it. Belichick would have been on you. Jared Mayo needs to put this to bed now. It's bad media. It's bad for the Patriots. It's bad for him. It's just bad for organization. Robert Kraft can feel this slipping away. It's not good. The Patriots will not be good like this. But let's move on to this, Brent. UFC 297. A bloody mess, obviously.
Yes, it was.
I mean, these Warriors, Brent, this is real, right? People, I think, have been seeing UFC now for so long that they start to be like, I can do this, right? Like, and I'm not saying like growing up.
No, you can't.
Like, I was tough growing up. I don't care. Like, no one ever was in my face. I didn't get beat up. I mean, people didn't push me around on the field or not on the field. But let me tell you something. The UFC is not like that. Like, oh, I could fight. Like, the UFC is kind of like, fight to get money or feed your family or go home looking like a bloody mess and get, like until you get pay-per-view status or until you're on top like this, you get paid, you get your purse regardless. But you could go home a bloody mess and I mean, Brent, these are warriors.
They are. And we have a resident MMA expert. Is he on video today, Brandon?
I don't think Howard has his damn video on. He's coasting in the background of the show.
So I'll tee this up. So UFC 297 was this weekend, and the main event was, I can't say his name, so I'll just say his last name. Duplessis beat Sean Strickland via split decision.
Howard's there. He could
Sean
talk.
Strickland handled this a little bit better than Kobe Covington did in the last UFC. He basically was very hats off to the new champ. It was an effing war. I'm salty. I thought I should have won, but maybe I was a P word. We can run it back. Congrats, champ. You're the man. Howard, what do you think about the fight? They said it was a great fight. It looked incredibly competitive, but it was decided on decision.
I missed the fight because I was at the hospital with a friend of mine. But dude, from what I did get to see, like snippets of things posted, it was a battlefield. So I'm really excited to go back and watch the whole thing.
Yeah, these
Listen,
guys are
Howard,
warriors.
The next time we ask you about the UFC and you see on this hit list UFC 297,
You better be ready to
you
talk
better
about it.
come crazy because
You better have an opinion. Yeah, you better come, bro.
hey, let's give our predictions.
Expert. All Brandon can say about the UFC is, oh, it's bloody.
Hey, we have a guest. We have a guest coming on the show probably this week, possibly Wednesday or next Wednesday coming on the show from Bare Knuckle Fighting. So if you're watching this right now, hit the like button if you want to see more sports.
Brandon,
hit the
one
like
more
button on
thing
the
about
show.
one more thing about the UFC also, the co-main event was a women's fight.
Yep.
Raquel Pennington beat Myra Silva. Have you seen women's UFC? Like I've been like to an actual MMA match where women fighting. I actually think it's better than the men.
Listen, The women are so raw.
It's kind of like more action. The guys grapple and they're like rolling on the ground with each other. It's kind of like
the women are tough. The women
are
fight,
tough, and it's
you're
like,
holy
holy moly.
You see girls come out like sometimes they look, they look tough, and sometimes they're like, oh, she's a pretty girl. Wow. And then you're like, her hair is all black. You're like, whoa, this girl is serious, and this isn't her first fight. She's on
girls can
pay-per-view.
fight. But I just think that the in-ring action there's more action, I think, in the women's fights than the men are. More like they're kind of like grappling and they're on the ground rolling around on each other. And it's like, especially if you're there, it's really hard to see what's going on in the mat. Right?
They're working on their skill set.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, so before we end up early today, what I want to ask you is, I know we're early, obviously, before the predictions and all this crap, but Chiefs, Ravens, you'll get a chance to capitalize on your conversation later, so this will not be in stone. But currently, right now, you saw Lamar Jackson, you saw the Ravens, you saw, the Chiefs, you saw Patrick Mahomes. So, what is your take right now on that game? If you have to give a prediction,
I am so sick and tired of the NFL's infatuation and love affair with the Chiefs, and to make it worse, Taylor Swift got booked in this role as they're doing hearts when they do end zone touchdowns and pointing. Oh my gosh, please.
I agree.
Get that off my dude. You showed a clip of Isaiah Pacheco making a great run, and before he even got in the freaking end zone, they cut away to Taylor Swift to see her going like this. I'm so sick and tired of it. Lamar Jackson, please do all of America a favor and beat the heck out of them.
Listen,
please, Lamar, please.
There's my you're spot on today. You're on fire today. I'm so glad you are. After the Bills lost, I'm glad you're on fire. I agree with you 1,000% with the fact of, I love what the NFL's trying to build this hype on, but I do think they are making a lot about Taylor Swift. They're not showing the owner. They're not showing Andy Reid. They're not showing Lamar Jackson's mom and dad every play. They're not showing Travis Kelce's family. They are showing Taylor Swift. And the only reason why you saw his brother was because he had his wool of mammoth shirt off out there in the stands next to Taylor Swift. So that's why he got his media day. But here's what I'm going with. I love Lamar Jackson. I've said this a lot. Between him this season and Tyreek Hill, they're so fun to watch, including Josh Allen. I want the Ravens to win. But like you said at the beginning of this segment, and I agree with you, when Patrick Mahomes is up against the wall, they find ways to win. A lot like Tom Brady. Where's my receiver? I'll make one. They find ways to win. I think, I really believe, and we'll get into this later in the week. We'll have a full live on this. If you're watching right now, hit the like button, subscribe. We're going to go into this before the matchup fully. But I really want the Ravens to win for Lamar Jackson's sake, to get them on the map and go, he was his own agent. He built this. He got some players. Wow, this is a great comeback from last season. But I just think the Chiefs are that talented. I think they find a way to sustain Lamar Jackson that many people could not. And I just feel that if Lamar Jackson doesn't have a freaking circus, I think the Chiefs are going to pull it out. But we're going to go live into this later in the week anyway. This is preliminary conversation, Brent. Look, it's been great having you on the show. Before you go,
fun today.
What's your shirt?
It's Guns N' Roses.
All right. Well, listen, if you're watching this right
now. You got to do a little welcome to the jungle. You were talking about.
Welcome to the jungle. I love it. Brent, bro, it's so much fun with you today, man. So glad to have you. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock, it's going to be great.
Did I get, it was really hard to kind of get going this morning.
Don't worry about it. It's Monday. Enjoy after this. Brent is the founder of My NAL Pay. He's got to run to some meetings. We're excited to have him every single day. We look forward to it.
Thank you, Brandon.
Guys, thanks for tuning into the Brandon Mason Show. We're so happy for you to join us every single day. Remember to like and subscribe. We do all sports, not just the NFL, but that's one of our main topics. We hit all sports every single day. Stay tuned. We're going to dive into all the future playoff matchups with the NFC Championship, the AFC Championship, including live with the Super Bowl. We'll talk soon. Until next time.